Hey everyone and welcome. Well, I found, remember when 5700s came out and you were flashing the XTs? Well, it turns out people are now flashing XTs into 5700s and doing a reference mod to get more hash rates than an XT. So we're going to take a look at this. As you can see, these are my settings. We're at 54.4, 53.6 with modded BIOSes normally on the XTs. We're running at a hash rate of... Oh, I always got this glare. I got to fix that. Let's see, let's go over there we go. 281. So 281, we got the nitro and the pulse happening there on my test rig, which every time I do stuff like this, I do have to pull off my 240 and bring it into my little downstairs living room. So yeah, and also interesting thing when you're BIOS modding, you don't have to copy the straps across both values. Only one, depending on which memory type you have. We'll go through this in a minute, but yeah, it's quite interesting. I just found that out while doing all this research as well. But looking at our numbers here, 54.43, 53.6. In the software of Hive, it's 85 watts and 94 on the pulse. Total of 281 watts total with 108 mega hash. We're minus the, because it's only on just the one PSU for these two cards, so 6 watts when that thing is idle. So we're just subtract 6 for the system off the cards. Puts us at 275. And that's 0.392 for a hash rate. Now we're just gonna put in a 5700 mod with the references and see what kind of numbers we're gonna look at here. I already modded them and uploaded, and so while the system reboots, I thought I'd go over exactly what I did to get here. So I went to Tech Power Up and I downloaded a 5700 Nitro Plus, the latest one. If it was been a late, they didn't have any pulses like a later one, so I just took the latest one out of them all. And I'm going to use it on both cards. So my Nitro Plus right here is the latest BIOS. It's a 5700 and it's not XT, get that right. And now once you go into modded here, you see we're going to bring it up. Now right here you see you have two memory types. Now the MT, zoom in a bit there. So MT is Micron memory, and KT, then the one that starts with a K is Samsung. Now I know I have Micron, and all the guides to do it, try and doing this, is only doing it on the Micron side. So I only copied the straps on the MT side. As you can see, I'll go to the KT. As you can see, all the straps are different. 1A, A09, 1A, 2A. So no straps copied at all there. But here I do have the straps copied from the 1550 down. And on top of that, I also reference modded all the way from 1000 down. So there's a sheet here. There they are. For each megahertz, you put in those values for your tREF. As you can see here, here's 1000 megahertz up here. I do have in the 3900, as it says right there. And you go down each line and put in those reference down points. So that's how I modded this. You copy the straps and then you put in your reference numbers. And now we're going to see how a 5700 BIOS does on a 5700 XT. So here we are. We have the same BIOS in both cards, and you can see they're non-XTs now. We are hashing away at 54.84 and 55.27. Now our software wattage is down to 70 and 76, so that went down a little bit as well. So let's take a look at our actual power consumption. 282.2.3, so 282. So our power went up a bit, even though software says it went down. So let's have a look here. So previously our nitro was at 54.43. We are now up a bit, 54.81. Our pulse was at 53.6, and now we're up to 55.3. So that's a nice improvement. You can see our power draw on software dropped, but we actually went up 1 watt at the wall. So for new numbers here, we have a total of 282 watts at 110.11 mega hash for a 0.398 efficiency. So we gained a little bit more efficiency on this. So we're hashing a little more, slightly 1 extra watt and more efficient. So that is interesting. Now one more thing got me puzzling. I wonder if we did the reference mod to an XT BIOS. So let's check that out too, because you might not even need the 5700. We'll try the same reference mod on an XT BIOS that came with these and see how that goes. So here we have our normal BIOS back in with the reference mod. We got our nitros a little bit higher now, 55.27. Well, our pulse is 54.67. Our wattage went up in the software a little bit more towards what we were originally. Now we're just going to have a look at our actual power consumption here. And we are pulling 184 watts now, 0.2, so 284. So we're going to go with 284 now and look at all our numbers and see exactly what's going on. This is Team Red Miner, so you're not getting false mega hash either. So we were running 55.25 and 54.69 at 85 watts and 91 watts. That's 284 watts total at 109.94 mega hash. This works out to 278 watts on the cards, which is 0.395 for an efficiency. So it does look like our 5700 non-XT reference mod is the most efficient, not by much. They are all pretty close, but just standard straps looks like it is the worst out of the three. So that is interesting, that is for sure. Also note on this reference mod for the XT BIOS, I did do it the same way as the 5700, where I only did the Micron memory straps. I did not do the Samsung. So that's just a note to put in there. And now I'm also curious, because sometimes when I switch to Phoenix Miner and we know it does produce false hash rates, it's saying more hash than what you're actually getting. I'm actually going to see if it draws more power or not, because I notice sometimes when I switch over, I'm drawing more power from the wall. So I'm just going to have a look here and see exactly what Phoenix Miner is going to pull based off these settings here. And here we are in Phoenix Miner, 56.27, 55.53 at 88 and 94 watts. Everything has been the same settings throughout the whole test. I have not touched a thing. We're going to look at our power consumption here. 290, so we definitely went up. Like I noticed when I put all my rigs, I switch them over to Phoenix Miner to test stuff, I usually go up about 60 to 70 watts on all my rigs, so it's pretty crazy. So now we're going to look here, 56.24, 55.55. Software is reporting 88 and 93, so slightly up there. 290 watts total, 111.79 mega hash. And that brings us at 284 total for the cards and 0.393. So it is still slightly more efficient than your standard overclocks, even in Team Red here, for power consumption. But I don't know whether Phoenix Miner is giving you proper shares. That is still a big debate. They did update, so maybe it's fixed, but it's still higher than everywhere else. So I'm assuming it is still lying to you. Another thing is, a lot of people like to comment on some of my past videos telling me how all my power consumption numbers are wrong. They're only pulling 110 watts, 100 watts due to from the software. So their cards, they're going by the software numbers and saying pulling 100 watts. Well, I just want to say, use wall. Don't post any power for any card. Even if it's NVIDIA, I've noticed fluctuations, but use a watt meter if you're going to argue with somebody, because if you're pulling 110 watts in software, I don't even want to know what you're pulling out the wall, because you were running highly inefficient. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out there. So anyway, these are numbers that they're looking at. It does look like the 5700 non-XT is the most efficient to use for mining currently on Ethereum with Team Red Miner. So yeah, that is some interesting info. Mind you, these numbers are all fairly close if you want to go through all the trouble of doing that, but it is more efficient. So your decision. Anyway, I hope this video helped you out. It was quite interesting, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Rabid out.